Please like the video and share your thoughts in the comments. Your feedback helps make the content better. She came home with takeout and a smile like she'd just been drafted into the big leagues. She tossed her tote on the counter and waved a printed email. They picked me, Jenna said. I start Monday. HR said my resume stood out. I set down the wrench and wiped my hands on a kitchen towel. Big news. She kissed my cheek and pulled out plastic cartons. You doubted me? I didn't say that. You didn't have to. She set plates, moving quick. This is a real firm. Benefits. Title. I'm not stuck crawling through small offices anymore. Congrats, I told her and meant it. Nate had texted me 2 hours earlier. She's solid. I'll push it through. She'll never know. I'd known Nate since we were 19. He ran operations there now. One call, a quiet nudge, and her resume stood out. We ate pad thai at the island. She talked about onboarding. I did the listening thing, nodding at the right spots. It felt good to see her happy. I figured I'd let my part sit in the dark. She wanted to believe she fought her way in. Fine. People need their wins. If I'd known where it was headed, I'd have skipped the takeout and poured a bucket of cold water on both of us. The first week, she was sugar. Early mornings, excited messages, photos of the office lounge like it was a tourist landmark. You'd love the coffee machine, she said one night, kicking off her heels, leaving them sideways in the hall. Touchscreen, 8 options. Real foam. I survive on a kettle, I said, leaning on the doorframe. It keeps me humble. She smirked. That explains your charm. I ran a small HVAC outfit with 2 techs and a van that only complained when we ignored the oil light. Not glamorous, but my phone rang steady and the bills got paid ahead of due dates. I was fine with modest. By week 2, Jenna started lingering at the office. Running late, she texted Monday. We're reviewing a rollout plan. Got it, I replied. I reheated leftovers and cleaned the grill grates. She came in after 10, yawned through my updates about the Miller job, and drifted off on the couch mid-sentence. Tuesday, she beat the clock home, gave me a quick hug, and laughed at a meme on her phone while I plated dinner. What's funny? I asked. Inside joke, she said. You wouldn't get it. Try me. It's about interns. It'd take too long. She ate 3 bites and went to call Sharon from HR. Closed door, whisper laugh, the whole routine. Wednesday, she pushed her plate away early. I'm trying not to eat heavy past 6. People here actually take care of themselves. We're not 25 anymore. And I'm a pizza raccoon. She shrugged. Your words. Signals come like that. Humor with a little blade in it. I clocked it and kept my calm. New job energy. She wanted to look sharp, prove herself. I gave her slack. Thursday, I got home first, threw chicken on a sheet pan, and set the table. She walked in, saw the plates, and sighed. We were doing a salad thing at work, she said. Now this. You want me to chop a salad? No, it's fine. Next time, tell me before you plan a feast. She pulled her sleeve and checked the time. I'm on a late call anyway. Eat after, I suggested. I don't want to sleep heavy. She took the late call on speaker in the bedroom and shut the door. I ate alone and saved her a portion. She didn't touch it. When she finally came out, I was sketching duct routes for a new client. Still at your drawings? She asked, like I was carving stick figures. Yeah. You ever think about scaling up? I'm booked 2 weeks out. That's not what I asked. I set the pencil down. What did you ask exactly? She leaned against the counter. I'm meeting people who move. They push. They plan 6 months out. You play week-to-week ball. It's comfortable. I like comfortable. Exactly, she said, like she'd just won something. Comfort keeps you small. I walked to the sink, ran water, and rinsed the sheet pan slow. You can chase your 6 months. I'll manage my 2 weeks. Both can exist under one roof. She gave the kind of smile that reads polite until you study it. Then you see the distance in it. Friday, she kissed my forehead. Big week, she whispered. I need to be sharp tomorrow. I'm going to bed. Tomorrow is Saturday. We've got a team session. Alignment. On a Saturday? She was already down the hall. It's called ambition, Mark. I didn't follow. I noted the word and filed it away. Ambition, according to Jenna, wasn't a gear. It was a moral category. You were either in or beneath her. That was new. By Sunday night, the house felt like a hotel lobby. Nice lighting, quiet, no actual warmth. Monday morning, I got up before her and cooked eggs. She came out in a blazer that belonged on a magazine cover, hair pulled back, eyes cool. Breakfast. I asked. I'm fasting. It helps focus. On what? On not getting stuck, she said, packing a tote. She glanced at my work boots by the door. You should switch those out. They look tired. They're boots. That's the job. She smiled at her phone. We're doing a happy hour tonight. Don't wait up. She grabbed her keys. Wait, pick up dry cleaning? I'm slammed. I looked at the claim ticket. For items, 2 of them mine. Sure. Thanks. She reached for a kiss, gave me air, and left. At noon, I was at the supply warehouse. My phone buzzed, Jenna again. How's your day, she typed. Fine. You. Crazy. People expect a lot at this level. I can't carry us both. I stared at the screen. The wording wasn't an accident. Carry us both. I typed back. You're not carrying me. She didn't reply. I swung by the cleaners, then my shop. Kyle, my senior tech, was sorting filters. You look like you smelled something bad, he said. Just running errands. He nodded at the tickets. Miller wants to move up by 2 days. The tenant leaves Friday. Call him back, I said. Tell him we'll split the job. Demo Thursday, install Saturday. Saturday. I'm free, I said. Apparently ambition works weekends. Kyle smirked. You finally got religion. I got logistics. That night, Jenna's happy hour ran long. She texted at 9, rolling, be home late. Be good. I put my phone face down and turned off the kitchen light. I wasn't sitting up to be graded on my bedtime. She got in after midnight. I heard the bathroom, the soft clatter of jewelry on the dish. I didn't get up. If she wanted to pretend we were roommates, I could match that energy with less talking and more rearranging. Next morning, I brewed coffee and wrote a note. Meals are on your side. I'll handle mine. Laundry goes separate. I've got an early start. Don't call me for dry cleaning. I stuck it to the fridge with the magnet shaped like a trout. When she came out, she read it and looked at me. Seriously, she asked. Grown-up schedule, I answered. You're busy. I'll stop assuming we share tasks we don't discuss. That's petty. It's precise. She folded the note and slid it into the junk drawer. Do not start a scoreboard. There is no scoreboard, I said, grabbing my keys. Only rules. Here's one. You want me at something, you invite me like an adult. I'll do the same. She blinked, then soldered her face into calm. Fine, she said. We'll see how long your precision lasts when you get hungry. Long enough. I left it there. Action beats speeches. I stocked my truck with new flex, loaded anchors, and ran a clean route to the first site. By noon, I felt lighter. Facts beat moods. Friday night, our friends Tom and Leah hosted a backyard thing. Burgers, paper plates, a travel crib in the den. I didn't plan to go. Then Tom called me. Come through, he said. Leah made too much potato salad. Save me. Jenna's got a late review. I told him. You still got a license? Drive yourself. I went. When I arrived, Leah hugged me and pointed me to a cooler. Half the cul-de-sac was there. Lawn chairs, citronella candles, a playlist that jumped decades. It felt good to be where nothing was being measured. Half an hour in, Jenna walked through the gate in another blazer, like she'd come to audit a picnic. You made it, Leah said. Drop by, Jenna said, scanning faces. Tom handed her a plate. We've got veggie patties too. I'm good. She checked her phone, typed something, pocketed it. So, Mark, she said, did you take on the Miller job while your van leaks oil in our driveway? A few heads turned. Not many. People pretend they didn't hear. They always hear. The van's fine, I said. And yes, I took it. Maybe focus on your basics before you add more, she said. Quality over quantity. Tom tried to save. He keeps my unit cold enough to hang meat. Jenna smiled at him like he was a nice neighbor kid. I'm sure he's very helpful. I didn't like the word helpful in her tone. I set my drink down. New rule, I said, loud enough for our small circle to catch it. If you've got notes on my work, give them at home, not at a cookout. Leah shifted, not sure whether to laugh. Tom glanced at the grill. Jenna straightened. I was making conversation. You were making status, I answered. I'm not your intern. Not here, not anywhere. The circle went quiet. A breeze cut across the yard. Someone in the deeper crowd called for more ice and broke the tension. Jenna adjusted her sleeve. We'll talk later, she said, and moved toward the gate. She caught Leah with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Great party. I watched her leave. Tom slapped my shoulder. You okay? Better than okay, I said. I just drew a line. It's overdue. Leah's going to ask me 100 questions, he muttered. You can tell her I'm not in training. He laughed once. Noted. When I got home, Jenna was on the couch, shoes off, toes under a blanket. You embarrassed me, she said, eyes on the TV. No, I replied, leaning on the doorframe. I canceled the game you started. That game is over. She finally looked at me. You think you're tough? I think I'm done with public digs, I told her. Also, budget changes. We're splitting discretionary. I'll send the numbers. And I'm not your Uber for dry cleaning, errands, or favor calls. If you want a partner, keep it even. If you want an assistant, hire one. She stared at me like I'd switched languages. The TV ran some laugh track. She muted it. Is this because I said I can't carry us both? That, and 10 other sentences. We're adults. Adults set terms. Here are mine. She breathed out through her nose. Fine, she said after a beat. I overstepped. She stood, walked to the kitchen, and set a mug on the counter. I'll make tea. Want some? That works. She brought me a mug like a peace offering. Her voice softened. Congrats on Miller, by the way. You always land things when you want. I nodded. Mid-turn. Soft hands after a shove. I sipped, thanked her, and kept my distance. Polite doesn't equal trust. Not anymore. Saturday, she became sweetness packaged as structure. She left a handwritten note. Proud of you. Let's align on chores and schedules. The word align made me laugh. I wrote back. We can align at 6 p.m., 30 minutes, clear items only. She agreed. At 6, we sat with a pad. She proposed a board, apps, even calendar invites. I marked off what I would keep, what I would drop. Simplify, not tangle. Sunday dinner? She asked at the end. My mom's expecting us next week. I'll pass, I said. I'm in a sprint with work. She'll be upset. She can call me if she's got notes. I'll explain I'm scaling. I kept a straight face. Jenna's mouth twitched despite herself. She accepted the no with a practiced nod. That was the first alignment where her yes didn't cost me hours of odds and ends I never agreed to. Chalk one up for precision. A week later, pressure came back sharper. Jenna laughed at a text at 11 p.m., face lit blue by her phone. Good meme? I asked, walking past with laundry. Just coworker stuff, she said. Name. She slid the phone away. Does it matter? Sometimes. She stood, crossing to the sink, rinsing a glass that didn't need rinsing. You have this small-town jealousy sometimes, she said, like everybody's a threat. Or I have a radar for tone. Radar doesn't make you important, she said, too fast, then blinked like she'd been surprised by her own words. I folded a towel and set it straight. You always tell the truth eventually, I told her. Keep talking. I'm tired, she said. Can we not do this? We're not doing anything, I replied. We're naming a pattern. Here's my move. I'm not available for late-night mystery texts in the same room. If you're up laughing with someone, you do it somewhere else. That's controlling. No, I said. It's clarity. You're free to keep doing it. I'm free to not be an audience. She rolled her eyes. I'll go to the bedroom. Great. She walked down the hall and shut the door. 10 minutes later, she came back out and sat at the edge of the couch. I'm sorry, she said, hands on her knees. Work is a lot. I get edgy. You didn't do anything wrong. Mid-turn number 2. I nodded once. Thanks. She reached for my hand and squeezed. You're still my person, she added. I know I've been distant. I'll do better. Do it, I said. Don't pitch it. For 2 days, she acted like a different version of herself. She brought lunch to my shop, sandwiches and paper, a soda. She wiped dust off my old fan, laughed with Kyle about the van's personality, and kissed my cheek when she left. Look at you, Kyle said after she drove off. Domestic diplomacy. I'm waiting to see the bill, I answered. The what? Nothing's free. Wait for the ask. The ask landed Thursday. Jenna texted, big thing tonight. Don't expect me. Followed by a winking face I hadn't seen in months. At 7 I cooked steak and ate alone. At 9 I closed the shop's ledger. At 10 I switched off the porch light. At 11 I heard a rideshare door outside and the front door click. You good? I asked from the hall. Team drinks, she said, slipping off heels. We had a lot to celebrate. What's the win? She tilted her head. I co-led a training. People said I should run the department in a year. Who said that? People. Names. She smiled thin. You wouldn't know them. I nodded. Then it's just air. She scowled. You can't stand it. The attention. The momentum. I can't stand fog, I corrected. I like facts. Fact, she said, stepping closer. I'm rising. You're stalling. Fact, I answered. I was the reason you got in the building. Her eyebrows lifted. She held the stare. What? I stepped back. I'd given away more than I meant to. I wasn't going to explain, Nate. I wasn't going to argue that everyone gets help. I wasn't in the mood to polish her story for her. Nothing, I said. She pointed at me like she'd found a thread. You think you made me, she said. You think you own my progress. I think I gave you a runway. What you did with it is yours. That's manipulative. No, it's history. She went quiet, eyes moving like she was calculating a new story. I'm exhausted, she said flatly. I'm going to bed. Alone, then, I said, pointing at the couch. She didn't answer. She went down the hall and closed the door. By morning, the temperature was colder. She didn't make eye contact. She put on lipstick at the kitchen window, like a decal on armor. You're avoiding me? I asked. I'm packing a day, she said. No time. Make time, I said. We're not two ships. You insisted on boundaries. Liven them. She popped her bag on her shoulder. Also, I need more from you. Effort. Presentation. People notice who stands next to me. I laughed short. Your coworker fans? People, she repeated. This is not a hobby for me. I'm not joking about where I'm going. Then go, I said. I won't slow you. Try to keep up. She threw over her shoulder and left. That night was the kill turn. She came out of the bedroom in a dress she usually saved for anniversaries and weddings. Makeup set like she had an interview. Hair done. Perfume you can smell in the doorway. Where are you headed? I asked, watching her adjust an earring. Dinner, she said, even voice. With who? She met my eyes and didn't blink. A colleague. Silence. She waited to see if I'd make a scene. I didn't. Say that again, I told her. A colleague, she repeated. Do you realize what you just said inside a marriage? Don't weaponize words, she replied. I've carried this family's energy for months. If you can't match it, at least don't block it. I stepped aside from the door, leaned on the frame with one hand. If you walk out tonight, everything changes for you. She smirked. You're not going to do anything. That's the sentence to test less than once, I said. She held my gaze one more second, then took her clutch and walked past me. The lock clicked. Her heels tapped down the steps. I grabbed my jacket and keys. I didn't run. I waited a count of 30 and left. I didn't tail her bumper to bumper like a movie. I knew the 3 places nearby where people went when they wanted to feel important for a night. Third guess hit. Host stand, low lighting, a wall of bottles, a corner table. Jenna walked in, sat. A man maybe 35, a handsome staff accent type with a rolled sleeve, stood to greet her. They hugged like they practiced it. I didn't step inside. I stood outside the window line with my phone and took 2 photos. Enough for sense, not for theater. Then I left. At home, I pulled her suitcase from the closet. I packed it neat. Dresses folded. Cosmetic bag zipped. Work shoes paired. I set it outside the front door, closed it, and changed the deadbolt. I texted my locksmith, who owed me for fixing his office unit last July. Swing by now? He came in 30 minutes with a new cylinder. In exchange, I promised him a rush slot next week. I slid the old keys into a drawer and poured water. At 4 in the morning, hard knocks hit the door. Mark, Jenna called, voice high. Open up. Stop being dramatic. I put on a t-shirt and walked to the hallway. I didn't answer. The knocks kept going. She rang my phone. I flipped it over and let it vibrate off the edge of the nightstand. The knocking stopped for a minute, then came back with a neighbor's shout. Keep it down. Mr. Alvarez called from across the hall. People sleep. Jenna hissed something I couldn't catch. The hall went quieter. I lay back and watched the red digits crawl toward 5. At 8, I called Nate. Morning, he said, voice thick. You never call at 8. I need a clean decision, I told him. Your team has a policy on relationships inside the chain. Correct, he said. You know that. It's written. It's also ignored when convenient, I said. Last night my wife called a colleague dinner a colleague dinner. I have photos of a warm welcome. I don't care about romance. I care about workplace lines. Nate swore under his breath. You want me to? I want you to apply the policy you tell your staff exists, I said. Or get rid of the policy. Pick one. He exhaled. Who's the guy? I gave him the first name Jenna had referenced once by accident. He went quiet. That one's under me, he said finally. We made exceptions for him last winter. Not for this. So we're done making exceptions? We're done, he said. And Mark. Yeah. Thanks for the heads up. I'll keep your name out of it. You can use my name, I said. I don't hide. By noon, he sent me one text. Handled. I shaved, put on a clean shirt, and drove to a divorce attorney 5 blocks from my shop. Papers were boring to read and quicker to sign. When I stepped out, the sun felt harsh in a good way, like a clean light in a messy garage. My phone rang. Jenna. You got me fired, she yelled as soon as I answered. You did this. You're sick. No, I said. I got you hired. You got yourself fired. What did you just say? You heard me. You're in that office because I asked Nate to look at your resume. You're out because you decided the rules were for other people. You ruined my life. I laughed once. No. You tried to make a better life without me while using my roof, my groceries, and my quiet. That arrangement is over. You think you're so clean in this? You think anyone will side with you? I'm not recruiting a jury, I said. I'm stating facts. Also, by the way, you're now unemployed and, as of an hour ago, your husband is a man who filed papers. Do the math. Silence on the line. When she spoke again, the pitch had dropped. You filed, she asked. Already. Of course. Don't do this fast, she said. We should sit down like adults. You owe me that. I'm tired. I made mistakes. We sat plenty, I told her. I drew lines. You stepped over them to see if I was bluffing. I wasn't. We won't be meeting. You can't just. I can, I said. And I am. You walked out in a dress to test whether I break. I don't break, Jenna. I replace parts and keep moving. Her breathing crackled on the line. Where am I supposed to go? Not my question to solve, I replied. Your suitcase is outside. The keys don't work. Call a friend. Or your parents. You're heartless. I'm done, I said, and ended the call. For weeks, she sent messages like rain. Long paragraphs, short apologies, photos of empty coffee mugs, voice notes that started calm and ended messy. I didn't reply. She waited near my shop once, leaning on her car hood. 2 minutes, she called when she saw me. I just need 2 minutes. I walked past. Kyle looked at me, questioned. I shook my head. He went inside, leaving us on the asphalt. Mark, she said, following me to the door. We had a life. We had rules. I corrected, opening the door and stepping in. You ignored them. That's not fair. You had my number then, I said, hand on the frame. You found it for this, too. I closed the door. She stayed outside for a while, then left. Mr. Alvarez saw me in the hall a week later. He lifted 2 fingers like a salute. Quiet lately, he said. New policy. Good policy, he said, and moved on with his mail. 3 months later, the messages stopped. Word slipped through a friend that Jenna had moved 2 states over to her parents' place for a reset. Rent in our city didn't care about your pride. I kept moving. I bought the small unit next to my shop and knocked down the wall to expand. Kyle got a raise and a new shirt he started tucking in on his own. The van got serviced before the light nagged us. I put in a small office with a window. Natural light makes paperwork less of a chore. On weekends, I took my truck upstate to trailheads I'd passed for years and never stopped to see. Tom and Leah called me over for Sunday games. Real life. Quiet, steady. At a supplier barbecue, I met Claire. She runs a flooring crew. She talks like a person who's had her hands on actual things. We went for tacos and argued about the right temperature for hardwood installs in fall. Worthwhile arguments end with answers, not insults. I told her I don't do drama. She said she doesn't do projects that waste time. Fine terms. We stuck to them. I closed on a small house on a street with big trees and a driveway that fits 2 trucks without wrestling. I swapped every bulb to warm. I put a heavy table in the kitchen and invited Tom to scratch it with a deck of cards. On a Tuesday, Claire brought a level, and we fixed the one kitchen door that used to swing open on its own. Now it sits where you leave it. Months later, a mutual friend sent a screenshot of Jenna's social profile. New city. Back at a junior title. Sharing a room at her parents' place for a while. A caption about starting over and finding yourself. No mention of the colleague, the date, or the policy that had teeth. The algorithm thought I should care. I didn't. I don't tell the story for pity or applause. I tell it because there's a moment where you realize someone you live with rewrote your role without your consent. You can argue with the script, or you can stop acting in it. I picked the second. When the moment came, I didn't yell. I set terms. I made calls. I changed locks. I filed papers. I slept. The last time I spoke to Jenna was on that call outside the attorney's office. She tried one more angle at the end. Voice small. Can we at least meet for coffee? She asked. No, I said. We're past coffee. This isn't you, she said. It is, I answered. You just never met this version because you never forced me to. I hung up. Some endings need a final line. Mine was simple and true. We won't see each other again.